Tonight on Y News. The Agriculture Department says Filipinos won't be banned from fishing in Recto Bank even after the collision incident. Malacañang opts to wait for the facts before taking any action on the Recto Bank collision incident. UNTV exclusive, the Philippine Navy unveils new air and sea assets as it celebrates its 121st anniversary. Local court finds Paul Solano guilty of obstruction of justice in the fatal hazing of UST law student Asho Castillo. And Wish 1075's YouTube channel garners 6 million subscribers. Good evening. The Department of Agriculture will not prohibit Filipino fishermen from going to Recto Bank even after the collision incident at sea. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Richard Lasa, the cook for the crew of the Filipino fishing boat involved in sea collision with a Chinese vessel in Recto Bank, maintains there were no other Philippine sea vessels in the area where the incident happened. Lasa, together with the boat's owner, Arlinda de la Torre, met with Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol earlier today to narrate their ordeals the night of June 9. Piñol confirmed what really transpired that night when Blaza was the only one wide awake and saw the approaching Chinese vessel, Yumao Benyu 42212. Citing Blaza's account, Piñol said the cook immediately woke the captain of the boat up to inform him of the approaching vessel. But even before they were able to start the boat's engine, the Chinese vessel hit and damaged their boat, causing it to sink. Blaza said the Chinese vessel, which was about 40 to 50 meters in length, went circling their fishing boat while flashing light on them and then left. He insisted there were no other Filipino vessels in the area. In fact, he estimated that the Vietnamese vessel who rescued them was about 5 miles away from them.
Naisip namin kung mabubuhay pa kami doon. Mabuti may bitlang doon.
While waiting for rescue, the fishermen managed to survive by keeping themselves afloat with the help of boat's compressor. Lasa's testimony, according to Secretary Piñol, is an outright contrast to the claim of the Chinese government that about 7 to 8 Filipino vessels came to besiege their crewmen and that the Chinese vessel accidentally hit FB Jember 1 as it maneuvered to leave the area. The Department of Agriculture is still waiting for the result of the investigation on whether the ramming incident was intentional or accidental. Amid the controversy, Piñol said there is no reason to bar Filipino fishermen from fishing in Recto Bank.
We will continue fishing in that area. That is our traditional fishing grounds, and we will continue doing that. No? We will not advise our fishermen to not to go to the area. In fact, we will encourage them. Marami palang lapu-lapu dun eh. Mahal-mahal ang lapu-lapu ngayon. No?
In assistance to the affected fishermen, the DA will provide them new boats, including 11 fiberglass boats and 25,000 cash assistance each of the fishermen's family. The agency will also extend assistance to the owner of the damaged fishing boat for her expenses in acquiring the ₱1 million worth of fishing vessel. Secretary Piñol expressed gratitude to the Vietnamese crewmen who rescued the Filipino fishermen and vowed to push for the modernization of fishing vessels in the country. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The captain and crew of the Filipino fishing boat that sank near Recto Reed last week call on President Rodrigo Duterte for assistance. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
The Filipino fishermen on board FB Jemver 1, which was allegedly rammed by a Chinese vessel, say what happened on June 9 near Recto Bank was no accident.
Pagbangga, biglang lumubog na agad yung bangka namin. Paglubog, umikot yung Chinese fishing vessel, umikot. Pag-ikot, umilaw, inilawan kami. Pero kita namin yung mga tao doon sa lancha, sa lancha na Chinese fishing vessel. Pag ilaw nila, nakita kami lubog, umatras ng todo. Bago sabay patay uli ng ilaw, sabay takbo na palayo.
Mali ang kanilang statement na yung sinasabi nila na aksidente. Mali po yun. Talagang sinadya nilang banggain kami. Kasi kami po ay naka-angkor. Steady ang bangka namin. Yung engine namin ay patay. Hindi yung naka-andar.
Now that their fishing boat is damaged, they are worrying about how to make ends meet for their family. Cirilio Escoterio has been fishing in Recto Bank for 7 years because of the good species of fish in the area. He calls on President Rodrigo Duterte for help.
Message ko po sa ating Pangulo na sana tugunan yung pangyayari sa amin na sana tulungan kami dahil sa nangyaring trahedya. Kaya sana panawagan ko lang sa ating Pangulo, tulungan kami mga Pilipinong mangingisda.
The captain of FB Jemver 1 calls on the president to help them with the repair of their fishing vessel.
Ang panawagan ko lang sa ating mahal na Pangulo, gusto ko lang po mapaayos yung bangka na yung bangka na yan. Kasi diyan lang po kami kumuha ng aming ikakabubuhay. Pati yung mga tao, yung abala ng mga tao.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Philippine Silk Road International Chamber of Commerce vowed to give assistance to the 22 affected Filipino fishermen. 500,000 pesos has been allotted for the repair of their fishing boat, and another 500,000 pesos will be for livelihood assistance. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Malacañang says the statements of some on the Recto Bank ramming incident are premature. The palace has also yet to provide details on what will the government's next steps be. Vincent Arboleda explains why.
Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the Duterte administration still awaits the final result of the investigation conducted by Philippine and Chinese authorities on the ramming incident near Recto Bank on June 9. Malacañang cannot detail yet how it will proceed with its dealings with China on the issue. For one, the captain of the Chinese vessel involved in the collision denies the allegations that the ramming was intentional and that they abandoned the Filipino fishermen when their fishing boat sank. Even President Rodrigo Duterte has not made any public statement on the issue almost a week after the incident.
That's why the president is not saying anything kasi he wants, as a lawyer, abogado ito eh. Kaming mga abogado, we wait for the facts to come in, all the facts.
Sir, so
Alam mo yan, yung nangyari kasi doon, parang ano yan eh, it's a maritime case or an ordinary case involving adversarial claims. Merong version yung isa, meron ding version yung isa. So we have to know the facts. And then we can determine, alaman natin kung ano talagang dapat gawin. Until such time, premature lahat yung mga statements ng iba. Ang iba, kaysa magpadala ng ganito, ang iba naman ganyan. Masyadong premature. Let's wait.
The Defense Department, for its part, has compiled the sworn statements of the 22 fishermen who are victims in the incident. The Philippine government has not yet met with the Vietnamese fishermen who reportedly rescued the Filipino fishermen when their boat sank. When asked if the government wants the result of the investigation immediately, the palace responds.
Hindi ganun kadali ang nag-iimbestiga. We have to wait. We cannot be pressuring both sides to make an immediate finding.
The palace also mentions the possibility of President Duterte meeting the FB Jemver 1 crew. When a fisherman who survived the ramming incident asked the palace if we, Filipinos, are slaves of China, Secretary Panelo said,
We can never be slaves to anyone.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A Chinese vessel's ramming a Philippine fishing boat is not the first incident that happened in areas claimed by China. Other nationalities also experienced what Filipino fishermen suffered last week. Ray Pelayo explains why.
This video shows a Chinese fishing vessel ramming a Japanese Coast Guard vessel in 2010 near the Senkaku Island at sea between China and Japan. A similar incident happened in the same year. And in 2014, another Chinese sea craft chased, rammed, and sunk a small Vietnamese fishing boat. While in 2015, a Chinese Coast Guard ship also rammed a large Vietnamese vessel in the Parcel Islands of the South China Sea. On such scenarios, maritime law expert and UP professor J. Batong Bakal says that China has been using its vast fishing fleet to advance and assert its excessive claims in the South China Sea. He adds that since the militia vessels are unharmed, they use the vessels themselves as instruments to do this by reinforcing them for ramming other vessels and training their crews to carry out ramming and other dangerous maneuvers. Batong Bakal stresses that since the fishing vessels are outwardly civilian ships, they can deny that they are government ships so that their actions will not fall within the technical definition of aggression and use of force in international law. While according to Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, the recent incident in the West Philippine Sea is a clear violation of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas or UNCLOS because Recto Bank is part of the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. Carpio notes the Chinese fishing militia that are equipped with satellite radio communications are under the command of the People's Liberation Army. The Associate Justice explains this may signal the start of a new gray zone offensive by China to drive away Filipino fishing vessels in the West Philippine Sea in the same way that China is driving away Vietnamese fishing vessels in the parcels. Carpio also stresses that the Philippines must send a strong signal to China about the incident, penalize the captain and crew of the Chinese ship, and compensate the owner of the damaged Filipino vessel. Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Navy celebrates today its 121st anniversary together with the unveiling of the Navy's new air and sea assets. Here's Angela Lagunzat to tell us why. Exclusive.
One of the major highlights in the celebration of the Philippine Navy's 121st founding anniversary this year is the unveiling of its new and modern equipment. In its rehearsal last week, UNTV was granted an exclusive sneak peek to two of the recently acquired Augusta Westland AW159, or more commonly known as Wildcat anti-submarine helicopters, purchased from the UK for 5.4 billion pesos. These anti-submarine helicopters have the capability to detect submerged submarines within Philippine waters. The anti-submarine helicopters are not only designed for detection, it can also sink and destroy submarines because they are armed with torpedoes. These choppers will initially be part of two Del Pilar class offshore patrol vessels of the Philippine Navy and will eventually join two new frigates set to be delivered in 2020 to 2021. The Philippine Navy also showcased their new Hanwha defense systems, KAAV-7A1 amphibious assault vehicles from South Korea, purchased at 2.42 billion pesos. These have the capacity to safely transport soldiers at sea to land with their state-of-the-art armor protection system. Commander of the Naval Air Group, Captain Huwario Marayag, said this is a good addition to the Philippine Navy,
which is very much synchronized with the vision of the Navy 2020, to be a more credible and stronger Navy.
The new vehicles are part of the Part 1 Horizon Phase 1 of the revised AFP modernization program. Department of National Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana said that the purchase will greatly enhance the Philippine Navy's capability to defend our territories. Watch the whole story on Historia Saturday 5 p.m. here on UNTV. Angela Lagunsad, UNTV News and Rescue, Sandy Point, Cavite.
The Wish 1075 YouTube channel is now 6 million strong. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
Just a few months before the celebration of the FM station's 5th anniversary, Wish 1075 has reached another milestone. This as Wish FM's YouTube channel reached its 6 million subscriber mark before 3 p.m. yesterday. Because of this, Wish 1075 remains the #1 FM YouTube channel in the Philippines. Though it can still be considered a neophyte in the industry, Wish has rapidly gained support from music lovers all around the world. The station's YouTube channel garnered 4 million subscribers in November 2018 and a few months later hit its 5 million subscriber mark last March. Millions of Wishers continue to support the station because of its innovations brought to life by its founder, Mr. Public Service, Kuya Daniel Rezon. These include the one-of-a-kind FM radio booth on wheels, the Wish Bus, with its state-of-the-art equipment that can broadcast and record high-quality audio and video performances of guest performers. The bus not only traverses the streets of Metro Manila to bring the greatest of original Filipino music or OPM, but also Hollywood in the United States. Wish 1075 also launched another Wish Bus to ply provincial roads this year. Wish FM is also behind the biggest music awards in the country, the Wish Music Awards or WMA, which gives recognition to outstanding Filipino artists, may they be veteran or neophyte in the music industry. With its advocacy of helping others, the station also gives monetary help to the winning artist's chosen beneficiary. This is why Wish 1075 is known as the music station with a heart. Wish 1075 serves as Filipino artists' gateway to the world and aims to grant small desires of wishers. As a token of appreciation for the wishers' continued support, the station is preparing surprises to be revealed before its 5th anniversary celebration in August. Aside from hitting the 6 million subscriber mark, Wish 1075 now has more than 2.1 billion accumulated views on its YouTube channel.
Whispering Wish. 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 Wish 1075.
Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Different parts of the country have been experiencing rains recently, but the National Water Resources Board continue to advise the public to further conserve water. Joanna Anot tells us why.
The water level in Angat Dam may hit its critical level this week, according to the National Water Resources Board or NWRB. This despite the onset of the rainy season beginning Friday last week, based on the announcement of the Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA. NWRB Executive Director Servilio David explains that the water level in Angat Dam continues to lower due to the absence of rainfall in Angat Dam's watershed.
We wanted to clarify na sa ngayon po, hindi pa ho ganon ka-komportable ang sitwasyon kung ang pinag-uusapan po natin ay yung supply ng tubig sa Metro Manila. Kasi po sa ngayon is way below normal po yung natatanggap natin tubig sa Angat Dam.
As of 6 a.m. today, the water level in Angat Dam is at 162.39 meters. This is only 2 meters higher before it hits its critical level of 160 meters. The NWRB explains that with its 160 to 155 meters water level, Angat Dam can still provide water supply in Metro Manila, Bulacan, Rizal, and Cavite. But the public needs to further conserve water due to limited supply. If no rainfall occurs until the 3rd week of July, the water level in Angat Dam may stand at 155 meters, which may be the lowest level in its history. The lowest water level in Angat Dam was at 157 meters that happened in 2010 according to the NWRB. Meanwhile, Pag-asa says the effects of El Nino in the country may last until October, and the only way to fill Angat Dam are typhoons.
Actually, itong mga dams naman natin talagang napupuno ito. 2-3 bagyo lang, puno na yan.
Since last week, water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water have started to implement low-pressure and rotational water service interruptions during off-peak hours. But once Angat Dam hits its critical level, the water concessionaires have no choice but to impose water service interruptions even on peak hours. They assure, however, that they will inform their customers so they can store water ahead of the supply interruptions.
So when that happens, na ma-reach natin yung 160 meters sa Angat Dam, then we would have to implement this time officially yung rotational service interruptions na. And it will be implemented na mararamdaman during peak hours as well.
Ang standing order namin is as much as possible gawin natin sa gabi as much as we can, but siguro may mga pagkakataon in ibang areas depending on the design of the distribution network, may ibang tatamaan during peak.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
After 3 consecutive weeks of rollback, oil companies are set to increase prices. The adjustments will take effect at 6 a.m. on Tuesday. In separate advisories, Pilipinas Shell, Petrogas, Sea Oil, and PTT Philippines announced that the price of their gasoline products will increase by 35 centavos per liter and diesel prices by 20 centavos per liter. Companies carrying kerosene will likewise hike the price of this product by 25 centavos per liter. Other oil firms are expected to issue similar announcements on price adjustments within the day. Oil firms said the oil price increase is implemented to reflect prices in the world market. The court finds Aegis Juris member John Paul Solano guilty of obstruction of justice in relation to the death of University of Santo Tomas law student Horacio Castillo III and will serve more than 4-year sentence. May Bermudez tells us why.
In a decision of Judge Carolina Esguerra, the Manila Metropolitan Trial Court Branch 14 proves that Aegis Juris Fraternity member John Paul Solano gave wrong and fabricated information to authorities to prevent the apprehension of those responsible in Castillo's death. Solano is the Aegis Juris Frat member who brought hazing victim Acho Castillo to Chinese General Hospital in 2017. Solano said to police that he found Acho's body in Balut Tondo, but later on admitted that he felt fear, so he followed the order of Aegis Juris President Arvin Balag. But the court says Solano saw those who brought Castillo to the hospital leave. During that time, no one would prevent him from telling the truth to authorities for proper investigation. With these, the court finds Solano guilty of obstruction of justice and sends him to a more than 4-year sentence. However, Solano is acquitted from a perjury case. Solano calmly left the courtroom after today's promulgation and has not given any statements. While the court imposes a guilty verdict, Solano has been allowed to remain free after posting bail amid his 15-day period to appeal. Acho's parents, meanwhile, welcomed the court's decision.
We have to remember it was John Paul Solano. Siya yung nagsabi na he found the body of our son in Balut Tondo. Ito yung unang step nila na pagtakpan yung nangyari sa anak namin. So, dito nag-umpisa yung cover-up, yung conspiracy.
The Castillo family says this is not the end of their battle in pursuit of justice for Acho. They are set to file cases against the lawyers involved in the group chat who attempted to cover up Aegis Juris initiation rights.
We're prepared again for our casing case. We're prepared again to file numerous cases against all of those involved. Nandito kami talaga para talagang patunayan, panagutan nila lahat.
This is the first conviction in relation to Acho's hazing case. The trial on 10 Aegis Juris members continues at the Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 20. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A youth group files a petition seeking to cancel the substitution bid of Ronald Gardema to become a nominee of the Duterte Youth Party list. April Senadoza explains why.
Youth group Millennials PH on Monday went to the Commission on Elections Law Department to file their petition seeking to disqualify Ronald Gardema as a Duterte Youth Party list representative. The youth group says the former National Youth Commission chairman doesn't deserve to become a nominee of the Duterte Youth Party list, which won during the May 13 polls. Veteran election lawyers Attorney Sixto Brillantes Jr. and Attorney Emil Marañon accompanied the group during their filing. Brillantes, Marañon, and Attorney Romulo Macalintal will serve as the legal counsels of Millennials PH in their petition. In its 17-page petition, the group points out Gardema's material misrepresentation over the qualifications to become a youth sector representative in Congress. The group stresses that Gardema, who is 34 years old, already reached the maximum age limit of 30 to represent the group.
Doon sa registration nila, isang beses lang nabanggit yung young professional. Doon sa title lang. The rest, the content, walang binanggit mis isang young professional or professional. So, makikita na may material misrepresentation talaga na nangyari. And hindi talaga, ang representation talaga ng Duterte Youth, pati sa mga representations nila sa media, nakalagay na rin lahat dito, ay sila ay youth sector.
Former COMELEC Chairman Attorney Sixto Brillantes Jr. said Gardema's certification of proclamation must be suspended.
Dapat matanggal na muna ito at pumalit na yung tunay, yung legitimate. So kaya kami pumirma rito, pinag-aralan namin dalawa ni Romy Mac at willing kaming i-prosecute ito diretso kung hindi dito sa COMELEC hanggang sa Supreme Court kung kailangan.
COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon has previously stated Duterte Youth was registered as a youth sector party list in the 2019 polls. But Gardema had argued the party list was registered with a poll body to advocate for youth and professional sectors, adding there is no age limit. A staunch supporter of the president, Gardema filed a petition for substitution after the party list 5 nominees backed out, including his wife, Dulce Marie Suarez. For now, the COMELEC continues to hear other petitions against Gardema's substitution bid. It can be noted that several youth groups and election watchdog Contra Daya filed a petition also against Gardema's substitution bid in May. April Senadoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Neophyte congressmen attend the legislator's executive course at the House of Representatives. Grace Casin tells us why.
Every new Congress, the House of Representatives conduct a legislator's executive course. Taking the course is not mandatory to all neophyte congressmen. This time, around 30 new congressmen attend the first batch of the legislator's executive course on Monday. Here, the congressmen are taught the work process in Congress, which include drafting and filing a bill and the process of how a bill becomes a law. According to House Secretary General Robert Maling, they want the new congressmen to know the difference of the work process in the local and in the national levels.
Marami kasi although marami sa kanilang galing sa local, yung transition kasi from the local into the Congress is medyo kailangan gawin nating madali, gawin nating seamless para sa kanila. Kaya ganito ka-importante yung sessions na to. Kasi integrated din dito syempre yung mga programs na kailangan nilang malaman. Mga processes as legislators na kailangan nilang malaman. Kasi this will be their lives for the next 3 years.
Tutulungan namin sila na malaman nila kung paano ang legislative process, ang policy process, paano sila gagalaw doon sa policy system na meron tayo. Kasi hindi lahat ng mga gusto nilang gawin ay mangyayari dahil nga mahirap ang bill becomes a law.
Navotas Congressman-elect John Ray Chanco, a former mayor, believes that taking the course is important, saying that drafting a law is not that easy.
Iba yung trabaho ng mayor sa congressman. At first time po natin magiging congressman, saka iba syempre sa legislation.
The course is organized by the University of the Philippines National College of Public Administration or UPNC-PAG. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Incoming Taguig Representative Alan Peter Cayetano wants the creation of a Department of Sports under the government of President Rodrigo Duterte. This despite tensions among the Philippine Olympic Committee or POC officials. Cayetano says there is a need for a department secretary who will be accountable for matters involving sports in the country. But the incoming congressman explains he is leaving the issue up to the country's sports leaders. He also clarifies the establishment of the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee or PHI or FISGOC, which will manage the biennial games, has basis and is legal. Cayetano, who is also the FISGOC chairperson, says preparations are underway for the 30th edition of the Southeast Asian Games. However, he admits that politics in sports is an issue.
Any group, magkagulo NSAs, magkagulo isang NSA, magkagulo PSC, magkagulo ang of course affects the games. And I've explained this to Clint. That's why sabi ko nga kay Clint, baka naman pwede, after the games nyo na ayusin yung mga problema nyo sa POC. Ang ayusin muna natin ngayon, anything that has to do with FISGO. And I'm willing to sit down, even yung sabi niyong overpriced, I'm willing to sit down and look at it, di ba?
Team San Miguel and Alaska collect a twice-to-beat advantage in the UNTV Cup off-season PBA Legends Face-Off semifinals. Asher Kadapan Jr. will tell us why.
On Sunday's doubleheader at the Pasig City Sports Center, Alaska defeated Pure Foods in the first game 92-70. Alaska led the first quarter 24-19, but Pure Foods' Glenn Capascio made a 7-point run in the first 3 minutes of the second quarter to tie the ball game at 26. Dwight Lago improved the lead by 2 more points, but the score was again tied at 32, 4 minutes before the first half ended. Alaska easily bounced back and even took a 5-point advantage by the end of the second quarter. And in the third quarter, Johnny Abarientos and Willie Miller led Alaska with strong offense from the first minute down to the end of the quarter. And the final buzzer of the game went off at 92-70 in favor of Alaska. Johnny A was hailed the best player of the game with 25 points, 16 assists, 4 rebounds, and 1 steal.
Sinabihan kami ni Coach Jolas, we need this game badly para umabot kami ron sa finals.
Alaska places second in the team standings with 2 wins and 1 loss. And in the second game, San Miguel toppled Ginebra with final scores 135-107. San Miguel's 3-point shooters were not hindered to easily get the advantage in the ballgame. Vince the Prince Heason's 41 points and Marlo Aquino's 19-point contribution were not enough to stop San Miguel. Alan the Triggerman Kaidik, who made a total of 32 points with 3 rebounds and 8 assists. And Nick Velasco, who collected 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, were both hailed the best players of the game.
Sabi ko sa kanila, just play your game, enjoy, have fun, at saka walang ma-injured. Yun, medyo ang ganda ng umpisa. Everybody contributed.
It feels great. I feel like I'm one of the younger guys out there, which is nice.
The victory gives San Miguel a 3-0 win-loss record and a twice-to-beat advantage in the 30 semifinals. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
President Rodrigo Duterte makes a public address on the Recto Bank incident for the first time. He tags the Chinese vessel's ramming of a Filipino vessel a maritime incident. At Sangli Point, Cavite, Rosalie Cos will tell us why live. Yes, Rose, good evening.
Read that. Wala kang...
Good evening, William. In time for the 121st anniversary of the Philippine Navy, President Rodrigo Duterte breaks his silence over the most current and most controversial issue his administration is facing, and that is the Chinese vessel ramming of a Filipino vessel near the Recto, or also known as the Recto Bank. Chief Executive says the government should not take actions that will make the situations worse. He also regards the Recto Bank incident a maritime accident. He says he will not be sending military ships to the area. He also advises the public not to listen to politicians who the president allegedly instigate this. Let us listen to the president.
Pero yung nangyari dyan sa Banggaan, that is a maritime incident. Huwag kayong maniwala dyan sa mga politiko na bobo. No? Gusto papuntayin yung Navy. You do not send gray ships there. Banggaan lang ng barko yan. Do not make it worse because that's a fertile ground for stay out of trouble. Just build on our own. Huwag muna tayong makialam. Do not allow a little maritime accident or intentional na go to pahinga muna kayo.
Aside from this, he also says that we should await the result of the investigation by the Philippine and Chinese governments. This is the reason cited by the president why he had not talked about the issue in the past days.
And I do not now issue a statement because there is no investigation and there is no result. Then the only thing that we can do is to wait and give the other party the right to be heard. Importante yan eh. O China, marami ka mang binigay na, ano ba dito ang totoo? O, tapos, anong nangyari? Ganito. Then let us sort. Ano ang masort natin dyan? Pag ano yung totoo, then bago tayo mag-yun. Dalawang bangka lang yan.
In the end, William, the president reiterates he is not a full president. And if we must die, he says we must die with dignity. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Rosalie Cos, reporting live from Sangli Point, Cavite. Meanwhile, members of KAPPA Community Ministry International call for a dialogue with President Rodrigo Duterte. Malacañang is not worried about losing support from KAPPA members. Janice Ihente will tell us why.
Even President Rodrigo Duterte has for many times expressed resistance to the operation of KAPPA Community Ministry International Incorporated. Despite this, KAPPA members still call the president's attention to hear their plea.
Naimo kami mahatagan og gigayon nga maatubang diha kanimo aron imong madungog ug mahibaluan ang tinuod namo nga kahimtang nga mga membro sa KAPPA Community Ministry International Incorporated. Kami nga imong mga katawhan mohangyo diha kanimo na imong ibalik ang operasyon sa maong ministry.
Some other KAPPA members meanwhile expressed disappointment towards the government for not considering their situation.
Kung lagi taman, wala may mahimo. Alangan kuhaon mo. Wala may pinirmahan dito. Kung tagaan mi, salamat ra pud mi. Hindi na may magsisi kay gihulog daw namo dito bilang donation naman na siya.
Paano maibalik? Sinarado ng AMLAC. Sinarado niyang na-press na yung mga property niya. O di lalo kaming manghinayang.
Meanwhile, the Duterte administration is not worried losing support from KAPPA members. KAPPA claims to have around 40 branches across the country with over 5 million members.
Sinabi mo millions, you're concluding na lahat sila. Ang naririnig lang natin sa TV, yung mga nagsasalita, pailan-ilan eh. Wala naman yung entire. Di ba?
They even question the timing, sir.
There are millions, di ba? Ang miyembro dyan. Sabi nila. Kung makita mo yung milyon nasa kalsada, yun ang we can say na they are outraged and they are all against it. Pero kung 1, 2, 3, 4 lang, hindi pa natin alam yun.
In Zamboanga City, authorities have set in place additional security checkpoints to prevent KAPPA members from entering the city to conduct their business activities.
So patungkol naman sa checkpoint kagabi, yung ating mga kapulisan naman ay minomonitor yung founder ng KAPPA, yung secretary, board of directors ng corporation na yan, some other officers. Kasi we anticipate of the possibility that they are going to convene and continue the conduct of business.
The Philippine National Police also warned their men who are involved in KAPPA community ministry.
We will immediately report it to the authorities para we could prevent them from continuation of their business. Kasi nga ay may order na yung SEC.
Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue, Tagum City.
And for the news abroad, Hong Kong's most prominent student activist Joshua Wong walked free from prison after serving nearly 5 weeks for contempt of court, pledging to join a mass protest movement. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
Activist Joshua Wong, who has become the face of Hong Kong's push for full democracy, walked free from prison on Monday and vowed to join a mass protest movement demanding that the city's Beijing-backed leader Carrie Lam steps down. His release comes as a political crisis in the Chinese-ruled city enters its second week, amid growing uncertainty over the fate of Lam and a controversial extradition bill she postponed at the weekend.
Our Hong Kong people will not keep silence under the suppression of President Xi and the Chief Executive Carrie Lam. Carrie Lam must step down. Otherwise, I believe in the next few weeks, before the 22nd anniversary of Hong Kong transfer of sovereignty, more and more Hong Kong people, not only 1 million or 2 million people, will come and join our fight until the day we get back our basic human rights and freedom.
Wong acknowledged he still had to fully grasp the scale of the crisis at a time when Chinese President Xi Jinping is grappling with a deepening U.S. trade war, an ebbing economy, and regional strategic tension. Protest organizers said almost 2 million people turned out on Sunday to demand that Lam resign in what is becoming the most significant challenge to China's relationship with the territory since it was handed back by Britain 22 years ago. The mass rally forced Lam to apologize late on Sunday over her plans to push through the extradition bill that would allow people to be sent to mainland China to face trial.
I feel deep sorrow and regret that the deficiencies in our work and various other factors have stirred up substantial controversies and dispute in society following the relatively calm periods of the past 2 years, disappointing many people. We will adopt the most sincere and humble attitude to accept criticisms and make improvements so that we can continue to connect with the people of Hong Kong.
While Lam delayed the bill, it has yet to be completely shelved, despite domestic and international fears that it could imperil the status of Hong Kong as a financial hub.
Well, I'm stick with the other people who are asking for the withdrawal. If it's only a subtle play of word, why don't you change the word into withdraw and make the people a bit happier and pacify them? Why it's so hard to do?
Some demonstrators cleared rubbish left after the vast but peaceful march, while others sang Hallelujah, a gospel song that has become a feature of the protests against Lam. The headquarters will stay closed on Monday, the government said. Standing by were a smattering of uniformed police without riot gear, in contrast to their appearance during recent skirmishes with protesters. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
In other news, the wife of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has admitted to misuse of state funds and will have to pay $15,000. Sarah Netanyahu was accused of spending $99,300 on outside catering while falsely declaring there were no cooks available at the PM's residence. She was charged with fraud and breach of trust last year. Her lawyer said the case had nothing to do with her and said it was an attempt to bring down her husband. Under a plea deal, Netanyahu will repay the state $12,490 and pay a fine of $2,777. Meanwhile, Huawei's American chip suppliers, including Qualcomm and Intel, are quietly pressing the U.S. government to ease its ban on sales to the Chinese tech giant, even as Huawei itself avoids typical government lobbying. Executives from top U.S. chip makers, Intel and Xilinx Incorporated, attended a meeting in late May with the Commerce Department to discuss a response to Huawei's placement on the blacklist. The ban bars U.S. suppliers from selling to Huawei, the world's largest telecommunications equipment company, without special approval because of what the government said were national security issues. Chip makers argue that Huawei units selling products such as smartphones and computer servers use commonly available parts and are unlikely to present the same security concerns as Chinese technology firms' 5G networking gear. Argentina's president promises a full investigation after a blackout left millions without electricity. Meanwhile, Italy has passed a law to fine any non-governmental organization rescue boat saving refugees from the Mediterranean Sea. Jovic Burmas explains why.
In Italy, the Italian government on Tuesday approved a security decree that gives the Interior Ministry the power to deny access to Italian territorial waters to vessels that it considers are a risk to security or public order. Boats that fail to respect ban orders face fines of up to 50,000 euros or $56,500. It did not specify that charity ships were the intended target, but Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini has vowed to halt their operations. In Mexico, Mexican officials detained nearly 800 undocumented migrants in eastern Mexico in 4 trucks on Saturday, in one of the biggest swoops against illegal immigration in recent months. Mexico's National Migration Institute said in a statement late on Saturday that 791 foreign nationals were found in the truck stopped in the eastern state of Veracruz. The apprehension came as Mexico steps up efforts to reduce a surge of migrants toward the U.S. border under pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump, who has vowed to hit the Mexican goods with tariffs if Mexico does not stem illegal immigration. In Argentina, power returned to much of Argentina and 2 neighboring countries following a massive blackout that left tens of millions in the dark on Sunday. Argentina's grid collapsed, leaving the entire country without power. The outage also cut electricity to much of neighboring Uruguay and swathes of Paraguay. Power had returned to nearly 90% of Argentina by early on Sunday evening, and to virtually all of Uruguay and Paraguay, officials in each country said. Argentine President Mauricio Macri, Energy Secretary, said that the blackout started with a failure in the country's interconnection system, known as SADI, but said the root cause of the outage remained unknown and that results of a full investigation would not be available for 10 to 15 days. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
Scientists have genetically modified a fungus so that it can kill mosquitoes as part of a new drive to fight malaria. KAPPA explains why.
In this West African village plagued by malarial mosquitoes, scientists are conducting an experiment to test whether a fungus genetically engineered to produce a toxin found in spider venom can provide a breakthrough in the worldwide fight against malaria. The deadly mosquito-borne disease that killed an estimated 435,000 people in 2017, according to the World Health Organization. The project is the brainchild of entomologists at the University of Maryland who engineered the DNA of the Metarhizium pingshaense fungus to deliver a toxin produced by Australian Blue Mountains funnel web spiders. The toxin kills the malaria-carrying Anopheles mosquito when the fungus comes in contact with insect blood.
Out of the box, if they land anywhere on the outside of a mosquito, they'll recognize that they're on a mosquito and they'll burrow their way into the mosquito.
The idea came after the World Health Organization issued a call for a scientific solution to the rapid evolution of insecticide-resistant mosquitoes that had adapted to survive conventional insecticide. After successful lab trials, the U.S.-based team headed to Burkina Faso, where scientists there produced and tested the toxin-infused fungus in a national research lab in Bobo Dioulasso and constructed a simulated village named Mosquitosphere in nearby Somoso, completed with huts and muddy pools. Researchers reported dramatic results.
Well, basically, within 2 generations, we've killed 99% of the mosquitoes. So we caused the mosquito population to collapse.
By employing the fungus in tandem with conventional insecticides, the scientists believe they can prevent mosquitoes from developing resistance, and the same technology could one day be used to combat other mosquito-borne illnesses such as Zika and dengue. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
A Colombian town is brewing a world record for the biggest cup of coffee. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
A Colombian town is hoping to brew up 2 world records. One for the world's largest coffee cup, and the second for the largest coffee tasting. A massive coffee cup that can hold up to 20 tons of coffee was built in Chincha's Town Plaza, a community in the heart of Colombia's mountainous coffee-growing region. The event organizers said the world record attempts are an effort to highlight the local coffee culture and the importance of area farmers.
We, Colombians, want to be able to feel more and more proud of Colombia as a coffee-producing country.
The town will have to wait a little longer to receive its crown, however, as a representative from Guinness World Records said that further detailed evidence needed to be considered before making an official award. Guinness World Records representative Natalia Ramirez said to be able to bag the world's largest cup of coffee, a minimum of 18,012 liters of coffee is necessary. And to get a world record for the largest coffee tasting, a minimum of 739 people is needed.
There are 2 completely different records, requirements that need to wait a little bit, because the evidence is very detailed since we're talking about food-related records.
Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
A French land artist presented his latest and largest painting at the Eiffel Tower in Paris on Friday in support of migrant rescue charity SOS Mediterranean. Using biodegradable paint, same-type paint, the grass of the Champs-de-Mars gardens creating an image showing interlaced hands. The project, called Beyond Walls, is 15,000 square meters in size and stretches over 600 meters of land. This giant human chain will disappear within a few days as the grass grows and visitors step on it. And those are the reasons behind the news this June 17, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Pero yung nangyari dyan sa Banggaan, that is a maritime incident. Huwag kayong maniwala dyan sa mga politiko na bubo. No? Gusto papuntayin yung Navy. You do not send gray ships there. Banggaan lang ng barko yan. Do not make it worse because that's a fertile ground for stay out of trouble. Just build on our own. Huwag muna tayong makialam. Do not allow a little maritime accident or intentional go to pahinga muna kayo.
We will continue fishing in that area. That is our traditional fishing grounds, and we will continue doing that. No? We will not advise our fishermen to not to go to the area. In fact, we will encourage them.
So we're prepared again for our casing case, and we're prepared again to file numerous cases against all of those involved. Nandito kami talaga para talagang patunayan, panagutan nila lahat.
Dapat matanggal na muna ito at pumalit na yung tunay, yung legitimate. So kaya kami pumirma rito, pinag-aralan namin dalawa ni Romy Mac, at willing kami i-prosecute ito diretso kung hindi dito sa COMELEC hanggang sa Supreme Court kung kailangan.
But we believe by going here, meron silang pakay na ayaw lang din nilang sabihin, no? Because these people were already under surveillance since nung sila ay nagtago sa Mindanao. Posible, no? Kasi alam naman natin upcoming ang SONA this July. Posibleng isang purpose ito. Although as I've said, this is part of our investigation.